Oh, when you hear that jam, you know exactly what time it is. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to 1TS Daily right here at One True Sport. I'm your host, Zack Heydorn from Brass Ring Media. Ryan Drosty is still out on assignment, looking for a return to action tomorrow in the co-host chair with me. But it's good to be here. Thank you all for joining me. If you're listening to us and watching us on YouTube, hello, thanks for being here. If you're catching us on Twitter, what's going on? Thanks for being here. If you're a One True Sport member and you're catching up later on as a podcast, hi, and thanks so much for hitting download, and thanks so much for your membership. This is a live show right here on the One True Sport YouTube channel every single day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 Eastern, and we talk all the news of the day, all the news of the week, and there's a lot to get to today with a busy episode of AEW Dynamite last night. First of all, it's crazy that we're 10 days out from All In already. That came up quick. And so all of a sudden, like when you're watching the show last night, I found myself just being like, oh, okay, there's enough time to get more build into some of these feuds. And then it's like, wait a minute. No, there isn't. We only got one more Dynamite left before everything hits Wembley Stadium. So it was kind of a big night for AEW in that regard. And the biggest kind of story and angle coming out of that show was really in the main event segment. I mean, the main event match, you saw Swerve Strickland and Wheeler Yuta go at it. Good match. But the story of the main event, and like I said, of the show in general, was the angle between Swerve Strickland and Bryan Danielson coming out of the show. There's a lot of context that has to be put behind what they did. First and foremost, they finally, like AEW finally and definitively told you what the stipulation was for the match at All In, because they've kind of had mixed messages sent to the world about that. But it's going to be Danielson's career on the line against Swerve Strickland's title. That's what they're calling this, career versus title. So if Bryan Danielson loses, his career is over. If he wins, obviously his career can go on. Doesn't mean it will, but it can with him as world champion. And the big takeaway from my perspective for that build to that match from last night is you now more than ever, you've got like a heel babyface dynamic going on there. And that was a heel turn for Swerve Strickland, right? I mean, who says, what kind of good guy says that they're going to cripple their opponent, maim their opponent in front of their 7-year-old or 8-year-old daughter, or however old Danielson's daughter is? Like, that's not good guy material. So you take that, right, and you put that over here. Then you got earlier in the night, it's a tremendous video package with the Green Day Time of Your Life song behind all this kind of classic Bryan Danielson footage from Ring of Honor, and just really a really emotional piece that kind of chronicled Bryan Danielson's career, minus the years he was in WWE, of course. But it was a tearjerker. It was emotional. I mean, that exists to, sell Danielson as this sympathetic but awesome babyface. And then you have that over here. Now those two things are going to collide. And to me, that is babyface heel stuff. I mean, it's kind of pro wrestling 101 if you think about it. And I don't know, I'm curious as to what you guys think about that strategy for AEW to use here. On one hand, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, that audience is going to be firmly behind Bryan Danielson no matter what they do, right? I mean, even if Swerve is a respectful babyface and respectful star opposite Danielson. I mean, like, I think he's getting booed. People want to see Danielson win and win the title. I think that's just inherent at this point. So if you don't kind of put Swerve in this heel position, you just run the risk of being out of touch with what the audience wants and with what the audience is reacting to. So and you don't want to book that way. I think that makes for a worse match. So like if we're talking just about the match itself, I think it benefits the match to have this clearer heel versus babyface dynamic. Swerve more than others can pull it off, right? I mean, he always has been more of an intense, destructive babyface, right? Even when he was working Christian Cage, the way he talked was not like, he's not Cody Rhodes out there, right? From a babyface perspective. But he turned it up a notch this week. Again, saying you're going to maim your opponent and cripple that opponent in front of their family, like, that's dark, that's twisted, that is above and beyond, just competition and competing for the world championship to see who's best. So the negative of this is, like, can Swerve come back from this as a babyface that people want to cheer outright? If he beats Bryan Danielson, which I don't think he will, but if he does, is he going to be able to come back from that moment as a babyface, or will AEW fans just dislike him because of that? So that's the risk. That's the risk of this. Painting Swerve as a little bit more of a dark, dangerous heel character for one feud. I mean, yeah, you run the risk of that turn, impacting the immediate future run that he's going to have, either with the title or without the title. So pretty interesting moment, interesting night in that regard for both characters. With all that said, I thought, like, the segment itself was very intriguing. I thought Danielson, you saw more fire there than you had in a long time. I mean, Swerve looked, again, overly intense, too intense, to be likable, but it added fire to the match. And did everybody see the post-match video, like, promo vignette thing that they showed on social media? I mean, so go find it, like, right away. Just go to AEW on Twitter, and there's a video of Bryan Danielson, like, carrying Wheeler Yuta backstage. And then he cuts this just intense promo about how you're not getting, retiring Bryan Danielson. You're getting the Bryan Danielson who's going to kick people's heads in and on and on. It's a really great promo. AEW needs to air that stuff on television. Goodness gracious. That's some of the best material we've seen from Danielson in weeks. Put it on TV. Come on, that's where you have your audience is there on Dynamite, on your biggest show. Put it on television, for God's sakes. But it is really good, and a really good follow-up to the angle. So make sure that you guys go and check that out. The video package. Let's go to Carl here, who's in the chat. Carl says here, the video package was fantastic and made me wonder how much more this could have felt if there was build throughout the year towards one last run for a world title. Yeah, I mean, Carl, like, great point. It kind of seems like the AEW is trying to get the most out of this Danielson thing right now, and they should. But it doesn't change the fact that they didn't get much out of it earlier this year, without question. I think that video package, like, outside of just being really entertaining to watch and emotional, and if you've seen Bryan Danielson's career from the start, boy, I mean, that it really brought back memories and brought back nostalgia. What, like, being a piece that lives on a television show that helps build the match, it also was fantastic in that way too. Like, by putting these kind of retirement videos out there, you you leave like the match outcome up in the air, especially for smart fans, which AEW has a lot of, that know what's going on. Like you put a video out there like that and you immediately think to yourself, or at least I did, like, man, wow, like Danielson, he's really going to retire. He's really going to go away. Maybe he's going to actually lose this match. And that seed of doubt in your mind while you watch the match is important. It's going to make those near falls mean a little bit more. It's going to make, if he does win the title, the moment that he does mean a little more, have it be a little bit more surprising. So I just think that it was smart not only to just take advantage of, this final run for Danielson, but also it helps feed, the match itself and people's perception on what the outcome of the match is going to be. And I think that that makes it just as important as well. Hello to everybody who's in the chat besides Carl. What's going on, Liam? Liam says, hey, Zach, excuse me there. Hey, Zach, it's been a while. Yeah, it has. I've been away on vacation, and it's been awesome to be back in the host chair here. Eddie is also here. Says, morning. What's up, Eddie? Good morning, man. Thanks for joining us. If you're interested in hitting the live chat, it is open. If you're willing and able to send a super chat, either a super chat question or a super chat comment, I will bump it up to the top of the list here and make sure we get to it. Any super chats help the show. They help me and Ryan keep growing this thing, and we thank you in advance. Any amount helps, so appreciate that. Also, taking care of a little bit more business here. If you have not done so already, take a minute here while you're watching. Hit subscribe on the One True Sport YouTube channel and like this video. Man, gosh, guys, it helps us out so much for you to do that, and it's really easy. So if you like what you're hearing, just click like, click subscribe. We've got new content that goes up all the time here on the One True Sport YouTube channel. But just interactions and interviews with some of wrestling's biggest legends: Rob Van Dam, Kurt Angle, Arn Anderson, Medusa, so many others. Subscribe here so you don't miss any of that. And then head over to OneTrueSport.com if you want more, and you want more of that engagement, and you want more access to co-hosts like me and talent like Rob Van Dam and like Kurt Angle. Become a One True Sport member. There's 4 different tiers, efficient price points, but access to content, access to stars. You're going to love it. So head over there right now, OneTrueSport.com. You can also pick up some merch. We do have a merch store there. We have One TS Daily merch. Bam, look at that. Right? Am I right? One TS Daily merch. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. The hats are cool. The shirts are cool. You've seen Ryan sporting the shirts. So get yours now. Head over to OneTrueSport.com to do that. All right. Also, last night on AEW Dynamite, we had developments, I guess you could say, in the Mercedes Moné, Britt Baker storyline and match for All In. The show kicked off with Mercedes Moné against Hikaru Shida, right? And of course, Moné won the match. Story really is after the match, just like the main event. Again, you had somebody in a Sting mask ringside standing there. This time, Camille sniffs her out and just beats her up to a pulp before Britt Baker makes her actual entrance. Obviously, Camille thought that was Britt Baker. It wasn't. So, I thought that was going to be more of a story, right? Who was under the mask? That person was decimated. Clearly, that's not how they were going to go with this, and they didn't really follow up on that at all. So, yeah, ouch. Here's the thing. To me, Britt Baker versus Mercedes Moné, that match needs to have happened yesterday. I just wrote about this over at Brass Ring Media. You can go find my Dynamite column up right now on Substack. Just search Brass Ring Media Substack in your Google machine, and we'll get there with it. You'll find it. I hope you do. You can subscribe for free. But one thing that I said there was this match needs to have happened yesterday. There's nowhere else for this to go at this point. I mean, it's been a pretty much a one-note feud to this point as it is. And they just don't have any other angles to play before they get to the match. So they got to get there. If I'm them next week, maybe I do like a brawl or some kind of backstage interview, sit down with Renee Paquette or with Jim Ross, something to that end. That's all it needs at this point. I mean, getting them in the ring again with like somebody in a mask again, it's just like we're trotting out the same old stuff, same old. And so I just don't see the value in that at this point. I like the Shida Monet match. I mean, a little clunky at times, I think, but man, it's cool seeing those two work together. I mean, it's easy to forget like how important Hikaru Shida was to AEW, during that like pandemic era, right? Like when they're at Daly's Place, Shida really held down that women's division and kind of was in a free fall, like when she became champion, and she was able to kind of level it out, catch all the balls, if you will. So them wrestling yesterday, I thought was fun. We got two comments from Carl here again that I want to get to. Carl says Mercedes is a great bumper, but not the cleanest of wrestlers when it comes to executing her own moves. Yeah, that's true. I mean, yes, tremendous bumper. I think she sells really well. She reminds me of Shawn Michaels when she sells a little bit. When she's selling, it really looks like she's in pain, which I think is obviously the point. I think executing her moves and it not being clean. Yes, that's there. I think sometimes that actually benefits her though, because sometimes I think some Mercedes Moné matches, like you can look at them and go, man, they're very dance-like, where she's dancing with her opponent, not fighting her opponent. And I think sometimes when she does kind of mess up the moves and the fact that they aren't clean, like to me, that makes it seem like it's a fight. Like in a fight, you're not going to have clean execution of everything that you want to do, right? Sometimes it's going to be a little bit messy. And I think she can get it. She can get that out here. Andrew doesn't like my Shawn Michaels comment. Says, stop it. That was for Zach and a Shawn Michaels comment. I'm not comparing the two as wrestlers. I mean, I feel like I stipulated to that, Andrew. I feel like I stipulated to that out loud. I meant just they're selling. Like when Shawn Michaels was hurt in a ring, in a match, like you felt that. I think that's one of his shining qualities. And like, I think the same thing with Mercedes Moné. I don't think that's crazy comparison. I don't think it's a crazy comparison. Thank you, Andrew, for the comment, man. Always appreciate you. Eddie jumping in here with a remark that I think is going to, turn some heads. She does 1,000,000 times better than Mercedes and Britt. She is by far AW's best female in-ring worker. Well, I think Toni Storm would have something to say about that, Eddie. But she is a good worker, no question. And I don't know if she's 1,000,000 times better than Mercedes Moné. I mean, look, Mercedes Moné is a really good in-ring wrestler. I mean, are we really disagreeing about that? I don't know. Like if you look at all women, the top women wrestlers in the world, I mean, I think Mercedes Moné's up there. She has some of the most memorable women's matches ever. She routinely has good matches in big moments, especially. She's worked with all sorts of talent. Like, I don't know, guys. I think I think we're kind of looking at history a little bit differently right now for some reason. Mercedes Moné is one of the best women's wrestlers ever. So, yeah. I mean, she does really good too. I don't want to take away from that, but I don't know that she's 1,000,000 times better, Eddie. But thanks so much for the comment. Andrew saying here, hey, Shawn Michaels is the best ring worker of all time. They don't belong in the same sentence. Hey, again, I meant one little piece, and I think, and I maintain that. I'd argue that. I would argue that to the end. Thank you, Andrew. So yeah, they need to get that in the ring for sure. They definitely need to do that. And Eddie says here the WWE machine made Sasha Banks. Well, yeah, sure they did, but she's still a good wrestler. I can't believe we're having this conversation today, guys. I can't believe it. Mercedes Moné is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. Period. Come on. They teach their own. To each their own. All right, and last but not least, regarding AEW Dynamite from last night, Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong, man, they had one heck of a match. I thought that was a really good action-packed match. Orange Cassidy wins, and he is going to be the number one entrant into the Casino Battle Royal at All In. I don't know. Stipulation is the stipulation, right? It is what it is. I think we know at this point, we're just too conditioned to know that these Casino Battle Royals are going to crown a number one contender. That number one contender is going to lose to whoever the champion is. Like, I don't see that changing here. So, I mean, that is what it is. I could see Orange Cassidy winning, that battle royal, and facing like a Bryan Danielson as champion, right? I mean, I could see them doing that match. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Orange Cassidy win that. But the triple threat really was good. And it made for, kind of an exciting match that the show needed, because it had like, yes, it had Acclaimed in the Young Bucks, but that was really a blah match that existed only to get to another match that only exists to get to another match after that. So we really like no consequence here. And so they needed like a big time match that could hold its own. I mean, Dynamite habitually has like strong in-ring matches, and this was it for the show last night. We also had Jack Perry beat up Darby Allin and then challenge him to a coffin match at All In. They originally obviously scheduled to wrestle for Jack Perry's TNT Championship, and they still will, but now it will be in a coffin match. I wasn't a fan of the Darby Allin promo this week. I mean, it was delivered well, like, and Darby regularly delivers in those pre-tapes. I thought he, obviously played character well, and he hit the right tone with what he was saying and how he was saying it. But I don't think, like, I think he just framed up really his whole entire career incorrectly. Like, no, you didn't get beat up on the independents for nothing. You got beat up because you were trying to win matches. Like, that's the point. That's what you do. It's about winning. You can't leave that out of the equation. Too often, AEW talents do that in promos. The Acclaim do it all the time. FTR does it too, about how, I get beat up and I work so hard for AEW. Well, it's like, well, yeah, but like, really what you're trying to do is win. And that's a key factor in making like the pro wrestling thing work. These are pro wrestlers and fighters trying to win. And if you take that out or you forget it, like, you're missing like a key essence of what this whole thing is. And I thought Darby Allin's promo last night really, really missed on that front. So that's Dynamite. We'll talk more about it throughout this week and next. Obviously, we will, of course, preview this show, preview All In full next week, probably on Thursday or Friday next week, right here on 1TS Daily, a couple days before the big events over the weekend. So we'll give that a go really, really soon. And so you're not going to want to miss that. Trying to look and see if there's any extra news here that we need to discuss. Not much else kind of hit between last night and this morning. TNA runs Impact tonight. Pretty big show for them. on television. The show's headlined Nick Nemeth versus Josh Alexander for the TNA World Championship. Josh Alexander freshly turned heel at Slammiversary. So this is a big title match for them. Mike Santana faces Moose. Giselle Shaw against Tasha Steelz. Chris Bay is going to wrestle John Skyler and Riley Osborne in a qualifying match for Ultimate X at the TNA Emergence show. Ace Austin versus Jason Hotch and Rich Swann in a qualifying match to be a part of Ultimate X at TNA Emergence. Steve Flynn is going to talk, and Jordan Grace, the TNA Knockouts champion, is going to talk as well. So, pretty big night for TNA. How many people in the chat, just so I know, how many people in the chat are watching TNA on a regular basis? Drop me a line. I'd like to know. They've got, I don't know. It's hard to say that TNA ever really has like intense momentum because they're a distant fourth brand, maybe. Maybe they're ahead of Ring of Honor at this point. That certainly isn't saying much, but maybe they are. I think they are on a little bit of a hot run here. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the title match in particular plays out. Nick Nemeth versus Josh Alexander. Alexander, we didn't talk too much about this, but the heel turn was a surprise to me. Like he reminds me of Jon Moxley not in terms of being a wrestler, but in terms of like what he means to TNA. It's kind of like what Moxley means to AEW, right? Like Moxley's like the AEW guy. He's like the guy who stands up for the company. He's like the guy you test yourself against. And Josh Alexander is kind of the same thing for TNA. So when they turned Moxley heel, didn't really work. Same thing here with Josh Alexander. Like, I just don't know that it's going to stick. And Eddie is calling it out here too. Alexander isn't a heel. That's my point. That's exactly my point. Total miscast. Yes, I don't know how well it's going to stick. So far, it hasn't stuck very well at all. I just don't know if it could work. Like, he's too likable of a guy. People know his story too much. It's kind of like Edge turning heel in WWE. It's like nobody buys that. Nobody buys that. People know the story too well. And I think that's kind of where TNA is with Josh. So we'll see. But I'm excited to see how the match plays out tonight. We'll talk about the show tomorrow here on 1CS Daily. We'll review. Somehow I think I dropped there. Holy cow. Did I drop out there? That was weird. That was very strange. Oh, man, but I'm back. And good thing show's almost over because I'm clearly having some technical problems. As far as my question as to who watches TNA, Carl jumping in here says, not so much. I cast an eye over what happens there, but I feel like they're losing out on getting talent with AEW guys getting guys like Oku, who'd be a good fit for TNA. Yeah, I mean, TNA is always going to be in that zone, and if they do make a talent, like somebody like Joe Hendry, that talent is going to get gobbled up by somebody else. And that's happening right now with Joe Hendry. So yeah, that's an inherent issue with TNA. It just is, and that's why I think the partnership is good for TNA to have with WWE, because they can leverage that reality instead of like really try to fight against it. Liam here says, Dynamite is in my own city next week in Wales, still on the fence to get a ticket for it though. Hey man, I would. Pretty big show. I mean, I believe you're getting Okada and Claudio. That should be a pretty big match. I don't know what the ticket prices are like. Do tell, Liam, if you know, but are they fair? Are they unfair? Are they unreasonable? It wouldn't surprise me, but hopefully they are reasonable and you can get one. That'd be cool. If you do, drop me a line, find me on Twitter and drop me a DM. Would love to hear your thoughts on it being, live in the building. We can talk about it here on the show. Cool. Thank you, Liam. All right, you guys, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks so much. Really fun show. Thank you to everybody who tuned in live. Thanks to everybody who participated in the live chat. If you're listening or watching after the fact, thank you. Appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. We got all sorts of stuff dropping between now and even tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it. One True Sport here on YouTube. Subscribe and like the video. Head over to onetruesport.com for your merch and to check out membership. And you can check out more of me at Brass Ring Media. We are live this afternoon, 3 Eastern, on the Brass Ring Media YouTube channel, talking pro wrestling, talking WWE, talking AEW. We'll talk more about the build to All In and all sorts of stuff. Live audience. We'll take audience questions. It's a really fun show. We're really looking forward to it. Be there. Try us out. Head over to Brass Ring Media on YouTube and subscribe if you want to check out our written work. As I said, my AEW Dynamite column just dropped on Substack, so you can check that out. Just search Brass Ring Media Substack, and we are the first thing that comes up. You just need to subscribe. It's totally free to do it. Once you're hooked and you want more, if you want more of the full Brass Ring Media experience, you can become a member. It's only $4 a month. Not trying to break the bank on it, but as a member, you get extra members only podcasts. You get our pay-per-view and PLE review shows, including AEW All In. That's coming up. So that's for members. You get access to our Discord community, exclusive written content for members only. It's all there. Right now, you can become a member for free and try us out for 7 days and check us out, whether or not you like us or not, and whether or not we can earn your business. And we want to try our best to earn your business. And so give us a shot. Head over to Brass Ring Media and Patreon. Try us out for free. And then hopefully you stick with us. I think you'll enjoy what we do. Once again, that's patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. Guys, appreciate it. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. We'll catch you tomorrow right here, 11 Eastern. It's 1TS Daily at One True Sport. See ya.